Now, many people will say, no, we can't, to one or all of these proposals. The Economist magazine, our wonderful co-host, put it this way in this week's review about my book. Quote, "This brings us to the main problem with the book." Ellipsis. "If everyone in the world were as reasonable as Mr. Sachs, his solutions would be easy to implement. However, if everyone were that reasonable, there would not be so many problems in the first place." First, let me confess to being a reasonable person, or at least trying to be one. And also, let me thank The Economist for their gracious review and for the nice picture, which I like. But I am concerned about their comment. It reflects a view which is pervasive in our time, that our counterparts abroad are less rational than we, that our biggest problem is the implacable opposition of our foes. I believe this is wrong. Our counterparts will be far more likely to be rational and cooperative if we approach our problems in a spirit of rationality and cooperation as well. I'm not advocating blind trust in the cooperation of others, but in the possibility of reaching mutually beneficial results when we try. Let me end this memo by referring back to another time, when our foe was far stronger and seemingly far more implacable than Al-Qaeda. And that was, of course, the Soviet Union during the Cold War. The world was brought to the brink of annihilation in October 1962, after provocative Soviet actions in placing missiles in Cuba, which followed provocative U.S. actions in 1961 in the Bay of Pigs invasion of Cuba. Only John F. Kennedy's profound courage in October 1962 and his negotiating skills saved the world. Then, in the following months, President Kennedy launched the MAGIC initiative, which turned the Cold War toward peaceful coexistence, then détente, and then to the end of the Soviet Union itself. Kennedy hit upon a profound truth equally applicable in our time. The common interests of the United States and the Soviet Union outweighed their conflicting interests. Conflict seemed inevitable to the American people because of a tit-for-tat reaction in which each provocation was followed by the next in a widening arc of instability. It was at that moment that Kennedy seized the opportunity to change the dynamic by calling for peace and by taking unilateral actions towards peace, in that case, a suspension of nuclear testing. He put it in this way, he put it in a way which speaks to us across two generations. His ideas exemplify how the United States can make peace today through sustainable development. And let me quote at some length. President Kennedy said, and many of you have heard me quote this, I think it's the most remarkable speech of an American president in modern times, June 10, 1963 at American University. Let us examine our attitude toward peace itself. Too many of us think it is impossible. Too many think it is unreal. But that is a dangerous, defeatist belief. It leads to the conclusion that war is inevitable, that mankind is doomed, that we are gripped by forces we cannot control. We need not accept that view. Our problems are man-made, therefore they can be solved by man. And man can be as big as he wants. No problem of human destiny is beyond human beings. Man's reason and spirit have often solved the seemingly unsolvable, and we believe they can do it again. I am not referring to the absolute infinite concept of universal peace and goodwill, of which some fantasies and fanatics dream. I do not deny the value of hopes and dreams, but we merely invite discouragement and incredulity by making that our only and immediate goal. Let us focus instead on a more practical, more attainable peace, based not on a sudden revolution in human nature, but on a gradual evolution in human institutions, on a series of concrete actions and effective agreements which are in the interest of all concerned. There is no single simple key to this peace, no grand or magic formula to be adopted by one or two powers. Genuine peace must be the product of many nations, the sum of many acts. It must be dynamic, not static, changing to meet the challenge of each new generation, and ours is sustainable development. For peace is a process, a way of solving problems. So let us persevere, said President Kennedy. Peace need not be impracticable, and war need not be inevitable. And then he said something amazingly true for all of us. All of it's amazingly true. By defining our goal more clearly, by making it seem more manageable and less remote, we can help all peoples to see it, to draw hope from it, and to move irresistibly toward it. He summarized this approach with the most important truths of our time. So let us not be blind to our differences, but let us also direct attention to our common interests and to the means by which those differences can be resolved. And if we cannot end now our differences, at least we can help make the world safe for diversity. For in the final analysis, our most basic common link is that we all inhabit this small planet. We all breathe the same air. We all cherish our children's future. And we are all mortal. Thank you very much.